Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good for everyone.
Hey, hello first grade. Did you notice that we are now in fall? We thought we'd decorate our classroom for fall because pretty soon you're going to start seeing the leaves on the trees change colors. And I have a book that I think you would love. This book is called Red Leaf, Yellow Leaf by Lois Ehlert. And it has the most beautiful pictures. And look how fun, they even did a cutout of a leaf. So as you learn about the trees and the leaves, you might enjoy this book. You could check it out, check and see if it's on Sora or maybe at your regular county library, but I think you would enjoy reading about fall leaves. Hey, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm Mrs. Hammock, and here we are in our PBS classroom ready to practice all the skills that you need to be an excellent reader and writer. And so I think we better get started, don't you? All right, let's wake up our brain. Great job. Okay, you know how we do it. We train our ears for sounds. So today we're gonna do our blending game. I'm gonna say 3 sounds, and I want you to see if you can figure out what my word is. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. L, E, G. All right, I'm gonna do a little faster so you can blend it. Ready? Leg. Did you get it? Right, leg. Great job. All right, here's another one. Fed. 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 You are really good at listening for sounds. All right, one last one. Are you ready? Et. Et. Met. Great job. Hey, I was wondering, did you notice what was in the middle sound of all of those words? L, e, g, fed, fed, met, et, Good job. You know why all of those words, I chose those words for us? Because I want to train your ears to hear that sound, because that's our focus sound for today, actually for all week. It is the short E sound, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we do, let's practice our fluency. Okay, now we're going to practice our fluency with some letters and sounds, but also some of our blends. We're going to remember those because it's good to practice over and over so that, remember why? Right, they get locked in your brain so that when you're reading, you don't have to stop and think for a long time about what the sounds make. We're going to start with our blends, okay? And not all of them, but a few. Here we go. SP says sp. SN says sn. SL says sl. CR says cr, cr. FR says fr. TR says tr, tr. That's a hard one. Sometimes boys and girls hear a different sound. PL says pl, pl. FL says fl, fl. CL says cl, cl. And BL says bl, bl. Good job. Those are funny sounds, aren't they? I know. All right, now let's look at some letters. I'm using our word building cards because we have both letters and blends to practice. All right, let's see if you know this one without the picture clue, do you? S says S. R says R. L says L. T says T. M says M. N says N. C says K. P says P. B says B. F says F. G says G. Then we had our vowels. Remember there's 5 of them, but we've only gotten to 3 so far. Let's look at these 3. Short A says A. Short I says I. And short O says Ah. Great practice. Today we're going to add a new short vowel. We're going to practice the short E. I have my sound spelling card here as a tool for you and a helper so that you can look at it and see. It says E, egg, eh. E, egg, eh. Now remember, the picture is always a clue to help you with the beginning sound. It helps us. So if you're not sure when you see the E and you can't quite remember what it says, look at the picture. It's an egg. All right? And then the yellow box tells us, how do we spell that sound? There are 2 ways to spell short E. Just the plain E, and then sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we can spell it with an EA. It's kind of tricky. We're going to focus mostly on just the E today, okay? All right, so to get it locked in our brain, you know I always like to write it and say short E says eh. So if you have something to write with at home, it would be great for you to follow along with me. And if you don't, you can use your magic writing finger and trace it in the air. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Short E says eh. Short E says eh. Short E says eh. Did you get it locked in? Good job. All right, so let's think about what we've done so far. We've trained our ears for the eh sound. We've looked at what the sound looks like with a letter, and we've practiced writing it and saying it. Now it's time for us to build some words using it. Are you ready? Okay. Here I have a word all ready for us. We're going to practice isolating and then blending. S, eh, t. Now we're going to blend it together. Set, set. Good job. You did that really well. Let's try another word. Are you ready? Let me put up this one. Let's try this one. B, e, t, be, bet, bet. Oh, you did that awesome. All right, let's try a little bit harder one, because I think you are superstars. Let's try this one. I'm going to put the CK because we're using a short vowel sound, so I can put a CK at the end. Let's try it. Ne, neck, neck. Did you get it? Great. All right, one last one. I like to have you practice lots of reading because you are going to be excellent readers and writers. All right, now remember we did that Z, L, F, S rule where we have a short vowel, we have to double the last L. All right, here we go. Sm, L, smell. Oh, don't you love the smell of fall with the pumpkins and all the deliciousness? All right, let's practice reading our practice chart, shall we? All right, I have a short E practice. Here we go. Red, red. B-ed, bed. B-el, bell. W-et, wet. G-et, get. J-et, jet, vet, vet. Oh, and we just did this one, remember? Smell, smell. Great job. How did you do? Now, remember I told you sometimes the short E can be spelled with an EA, and these are some of the EA words. Head, bread, dead, sweat, spread, and red. Great job. All right. It's time for us to work on our high frequency words. Do you remember what those are? Yes, those are words that we want you to know automatic. Remember, when someone asks you your name, you don't have to stop and think about, what is my name? You just know it. And that is how I want you to know these words. All right, let's take a look at them. We have 5 this week. Wow. Okay, the first one is there. Say it with me. There. Good. Now let's spell it out loud. And if you have something to write with, write it down. T-H-E-R-E, there. Good work. All right, the next one is use. U-S-E, use. The last one, or not the last one, the next one is help. H-E-L-P, help. Do you hear the short E sound? I did too. Let's move that over. The next one is again. A-G-A-I-N, again. And now the last one is new, like I have a new jacket. N-E-W, new. Okay, I have some sentences, and I did not highlight the high frequency word because I want to see if you can find it with your good-looking eyes. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to read the sentence, and you raise your hand when you see our high frequency word. Rex fell down again. Which word did you see? Yes, good job. Again. Tell Ben to use a net. Okay, what did you see? Yes, use. Good job. Wow, you really do know how to use your good-looking eyes. There is my red pen. There, good job. Will you help the new kid? Yes, new. And can you help fix this mess? What did you see? Right, help. Great job. You have done an excellent job today. I hope you'll come back tomorrow and learn some more with me and practice the short E. That's all the time we have. Will you sing? Goodbye now, the clock says we're done. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good morning to a brand new day. Time to learn and games to play. Learning things is so much fun. Learning is good.